You know the feeling, right? You're out in the garden on your hands and knees, pulling up those stubborn little plants that just seem to pop up everywhere. You yank them out, toss them in the pile, and don't give it another thought. But what if one of those weeds you've been fighting was actually a secret powerhouse?
Yeah, let that sink in for a second. That little plant you've been treating like an enemy, well, it might just be more valuable than you could ever imagine. So before you pull another one, let's take a much closer look.
All right, let's dive right in. The plant we're talking about is called Purslane, and the story of how it went from being a prized food to a common pest is pretty fascinating.
I mean, talk about a fall from grace. For centuries, in places like ancient Persia and India, people actually grew this stuff on purpose. It was a cherished part of their diet. Fast forward to today, and for most of us, it's just that annoying thing that grows in the cracks of the driveway. So, what changed?
Well, the real reason it was so valued for so long comes down to a pretty powerful secret hidden inside its leaves. What if the very thing we're trying so hard to get rid of is exactly what we should be putting on our plates?
And there it is. That's the mic drop. Purslane has more omega-3s than any other leafy green vegetable you can name. We're talking about those incredibly healthy fats you usually associate with salmon or fancy supplements, and it's growing for free right in your backyard.
Now, that fact alone is pretty incredible. But believe it or not, it is just the beginning. Let's really break down why this humble little weed absolutely earns the title of superfood.
See, it's not a one-trick pony. On top of all those omega-3s, Purslane is absolutely loaded with powerful antioxidants, like glutathione. It's got vitamin C and E, plus it's packed with minerals like magnesium, potassium, and calcium. It's basically a multivitamin that you can forage. Okay, I can practically hear you thinking, all right, I'm sold, but how do I actually eat this thing without, poisoning myself? And that is the single most important question. So let's talk about how to identify it safely.
So here's your 3-point checklist. First, look at the leaves. They're small, kind of paddle-shaped, and they're fleshy. Think of a tiny jade plant. Second, check the stem. It should be totally smooth with no hairs, and it often has this reddish or purplish tint. And third, if it's flowering, the flowers are teeny tiny, yellow, and they really only open up on sunny mornings.
Now listen up, because this part is absolutely critical. Purslane has a toxic twin called Spurge, and it loves to grow in the exact same spots. You have to be 100% sure you know the difference.
Luckily, there's one simple, foolproof test that will never let you down. It all comes down to the sap inside the stem. Break it open. If the sap that comes out is clear, just like water, you've got porcelain. You're good to go. But if that sap is a milky white color, that's Spurge, and you do not want to eat that. So let's just walk through it one more time so there is zero confusion. It's a simple 3-step check. Step 1, break a piece of the stem. Step 2, look at the liquid that oozes out. In step 3, if it's milky white, it's a no-go. Clear sap is your green light. It's really that simple. So once you've passed the safety check, you might be wondering, what does this stuff actually taste like? Well, you'll probably be surprised. Most people say it's got the mildness of spinach, but with this really nice bright kick, kind of like a squeeze of lemon or a fresh piece of cucumber. It's juicy, it's crisp, with just a little bit of saltiness. Now, that juicy quality brings up something we should talk about. Its texture when you cook it. It's what's called mucilaginous. I know, it's a weird word. It just means it has that slightly viscous, kind of gelatinous texture you get from things like okra or aloe. Some people love it. For other people, it's a bit of an adjustment.
But hey, if you're not a fan of that slimy texture, and no judgment if you're not, there's an incredibly simple solution. Just eat it raw. When it's fresh, those leaves and stems are perfectly crunchy and crisp with none of that sliminess you get from cooking. And this stuff is so versatile. Honestly, the best way to start is just tossing it raw in a salad for that awesome lemony crunch. You can also pickle the stems. Oh my gosh, they turn into these amazing little crunchy bites, kind of like capers. That slime factor we talked about actually makes it a fantastic natural thickener for soups. Or you can just sauté it with some garlic and it wilts down beautifully, just like spinach.
Okay, one last important health note to keep in mind. Just like its cousin spinach, Purslane does contain something called oxalates. Now, for most people, this is no big deal at all, but if you're someone who is prone to kidney stones, it's just something to be aware of.
And here's a great little trick for that. If you pair Purslane with something rich in calcium, think crumbling some feta cheese over it in a salad or serving it with a dollop of yogurt, that calcium helps neutralize the oxalates. It's a delicious solution. So really, when you boil it all down, this whole thing is just about a change in perspective. It's about learning to see value where we've been taught to only see a nuisance. That little plant you've been fighting this whole time, it might just be a hidden gem.
And that really says it all, doesn't it? So the next time you see those reddish stems creeping across your garden path, maybe you won't see a weed you have to pull. Maybe you'll see a superfood you get to harvest. Makes you wonder, what other treasures are we overlooking every single day?